Technical problems aren't going to stop us. We got it. All right. Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So I want to start out by providing a little bit of context to how these decisions are being made and where they're being made. I come from a social justice nonprofit, Chattanooga Organized for Action in town. And so I want to start by saying that social justice includes economic justice. For us to have social justice, we have to have the power to make decisions and play a part in decisions that affect us. And that includes in all aspects of life, whether it's in schools, whether it's in our workplaces, whether it's in politics, whether it's in our neighborhoods. Like Patricia said, I've been a Chattanooga native all my life. I'm born and bred here. I come from a long line of Southern natives. And so a lot of these tactics and these problems and these labor struggles and struggles against wages, they're not unfamiliar to me. The South has a long tradition of this, of an increasingly hostile attitude towards workers and working people. We see that the South has the lowest unionization rates of any place in the country, but that's not all we're leading in. We also have the highest economic inequality rates. We have some of the lowest rates for education, some of the highest unemployment rates. We have some of the lowest wages on average of any of the states in the country. And I would say very firmly that these things are related. And they're related because workers are being kept very forcibly from being able to play a part in economic policy and the policy of companies and in the decisions that are affecting all of our lives. This goes far back. So the Congress of Industrial Organizations, one of the main organizing federations early during the New Deal era, at the height of World War II, they launch out with a plan to organize in the South. It was called Operation Dixie. It started in 1946 and lasted through 1953. And it failed very harshly when it came up against racial segregation, hatred, the violence of police officers, of the KKK, the ability for businesses to lock folks out, the threats that come with it. And this pattern has largely stayed through in the South. Even though Chattanooga, by having a strong industrial base, I don't know if everybody knows this, in the 30s and 40s, Chattanooga was considered the second most diversified economy of any area in the country, just right behind Brooklyn. We made all kinds of things here. And so we had a fairly strong and fairly radical set of labor unions, of organized workers. Over the years, and with the pressure of right-to-work laws, other anti-worker measures, that has definitely gone away. We reach a point in Chattanooga now where poverty is, although well hidden, it's very strongly felt by an increasing number of people. The Brookings Institute has done a lot of studies on this that cite comparisons between Chattanooga and other cities around the country. They found, for instance, that since the Great Recession in 2007, in the immediate 2 years, that Chattanooga, the poverty level rose by 8%. It was the second highest rise in poverty of any area in the country, only followed by Allentown, Pennsylvania. They did another study just recently, tracking from the year 2000 to 2011, and we have had a 75.2 increase in poverty levels in our town. We also we fall at the bottom of metropolitan cities in the South in public transportation, as services, social welfare policies, that those budgets are being cut. Our wages are trailing behind as we have a very high unemployment level. And these burdens, although strong, are not affecting all people the same and not all communities the same. We see a recent report that just came out a few months ago saying that while 15% of white children are living underneath the poverty line, fully 65% of communities of color, their children are living below the poverty line in Chattanooga. I think in this situation in our city, with the problems, with the difficulties that are faced by people trying to stand up and trying to be able to say that we deserve more, that it is our labor that's building this city, that I have to say that I am honored to know so many organizers that are working and fighting the fight in our city. I want to definitely have a shout out to the United Campus workers here tonight. The strong fight for workers' rights here on this campus is something that needs to be talked about every day. And I also want to say that these Volkswagen workers are making me proud that they are standing up. I have family that's worked at Volkswagen, and I think I take it as a personal offense, these attacks that are coming against these people who are wanting to come together and fight for each other. When someone like Bob Corker comes and says that if Volkswagen unionizes, it's going to be a laughingstock. It's going to be the destruction of our local economy. I take it as a personal offense for all the work that they're doing in order to stand up for each other. I especially take it a personal offense because Volkswagen's entire model of corporate policy and industrial structure is based on organized labor. I have 61 plants. All of them have a works council. As Mike said, works council is a division between blue-collar and white-collar workers that, although they do not affect wages and benefits, they guide the organization. They set safety standards, environmental standards, practices. They discuss long-term investment. And whether you're talking about workers in South Africa, or workers in Mexico, or workers in Germany, or all across Europe, even in China, they're setting up a works council. And these are based on organized labor. They're based on workers who are able to come together and negotiate for their share of the work that they're doing. So, again, I take it as a personal offense that of all of these workers, Chattanooga workers, who are being pointed out to say that Volkswagen doesn't need to give them a voice, that the table doesn't have room for them. So, as Mike said, I think that the greatest fear is the fear of a good example. And again, I want to congratulate the Volkswagen workers for showing the way on that.